Hey y'all, this is just a precursor to the video you're about to listen to the next clips. Like I do in a lot of these videos, y'all, just for clarity, to make sure that things are clear. What you're gonna hear in the next clip, y'all, is me venting about a reaction I got to trying to do something nice from the goodness of my heart. And just the gaslighting that happens with targets, because moments like that happen and, or you're always being accused of being disingenuous or fake or this or that. And so then you isolate and you move like this cold-hearted bitch. And then they gaslight you about that too. And they start calling you a narcissist and you're selfish and you're cold. And every minute they're sending you stuff about being cold. It's like, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. And it's not even just in that specific instance. It's like they're like that, like polar, like that, bipolar, like that with everything. It's literally psychological warfare, and it's designed to make you go mad. Anyway, y'all, so that's what you're going to hear in the next clip. I did do my typical intro, but I think I missed, I didn't listen back yet. I did listen back, but I don't remember if I said it or not. I'm tired, y'all. I just worked last night. As y'all can see, it's 12:43 p.m. I worked from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. this morning, and then I went out and I did some shopping because I got paid, and that was when I tried to do something nice for some people in my family. And I try not to mention relationships in these videos. I really do. But in this video, I did mention relationships because it's specific. And I want you to understand, the terminology of me being cold, or the narrative of me being this cold person, and understand that when I do try to do something nice, it's still a bad reaction anyway. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Anyways, y'all, so I was out shopping all morning, and then I came home and I just got this kind of weird reaction to whatever nice gesture it was I was trying to do. And I just kind of, I wouldn't say went off. It's not like I'm exploding or having some sort of tyrannical reaction, but I did vent in the next two clips. And so that's what you're going to hear, y'all. And in the intro that I did in the next clip, I think I forgot to mention that you can hear my full story of how I became targeted in the description box and comment section. I talked about checking out the links in the description box and comment section like I always do at the beginning of every video, but I don't think I mentioned that my full story is there like I typically do. I think I forgot to mention that. So I want to mention that here. There are links in the description box and comment section, identical links that lead to videos that share information about the targeted individual program, information about the technology used on targets, information about the tactics used on targets, and just info about the program in general, y'all. Those of you that have been subscribed, you know that I've been targeted since summer of 2020. And we're now in February of 2026. So this is my sixth year. I'm sorry, I'm having tie tongue, y'all. I'm sorry. But yeah, that year of targeting. So it's just been a long time, y'all, over half a decade at this point, I'm praying to God that this is the year that they let me up out of this thing, honestly. Anyway, y'all, so not only will you see videos with information about the technology and tactics and, information about the program in general, but there are also links. Those are some of the first links that you'll see to videos where I tell my story of how I became a target. So listen to my story, y'all. It's a unique and interesting one, and it's ludicrous. Like, you would never believe what I've been through over something so trivial, and how long I've been suffering over something so trivial, and how it led to these horrible reactions that worsen the situation, and it's a nightmare. Anyway, y'all, so I just wanted to add that into this beginning clip here. So that's what's happening in the next two clips that you hear. Just me documenting what felt like, bad treatment for trying to do something nice. This is why I do what I do and I move how I move, man. And so I just want to be clear about that, y'all, because I do kind of reference situations as if you're familiar with my story. Because at this point now, if you're listening to this video, you should have listened to my story. Hopefully you wouldn't start at the most recent video on the channel. As you all can see, there's 184 videos. This is the 185th one. So hopefully, in fact, I think I'm going to delete a video. So this will be the 184th video. And then the next video, which was supposed to be this video, the next video was supposed to be a positive video, a workout update. But I didn't expect this to happen. As y'all can see, I haven't made a video, since 10 days ago when that fight with that person in my close circle happened. Another targeting bullshit. that I got gaslit about. But anyway, you can see I haven't made a video in days. But this happened this morning and I just had to vent, y'all. This is my outlet. You know, I'm isolated, I'm targeted, I'm going through a lot of unfair shit. This is the outlet here where I document things, where I advocate for myself, and where I vent. So anyways, so check out those links, y'all, so you can be familiar with some of the things I talk about in the next few clips, because I do kind of reference, you know, things that I expect you to know from hearing my story. Like when I tried to relocate off island 2 years after the targeting started in 2022, and things blew up in the United States. And then I came back to the island I tried to relocate off of at the end of 2022, and the targeting had worsened because I shared offensive Hebrew Israelite propaganda in my vehicle in Florida. You know, these are things I talked about in my story. So I kind of reference those things in the next clip loosely. And if you're not familiar with my story, it might sound like foreign concepts. So that's all I wanted to do, y'all. I just wanted to make this precursor as, you know, like for not as anything, y'all. I'm tired. I'm sorry. For clarity. Sorry for the rambling. All right. Talk to y'all in the next one. Peace out. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Sharifa, and my poetry name is New Lily. If you're new to my channel, please check out the links located in the description box and comment section. And in both locations, you'll find an identical set of links that lead to videos that talk about what started my targeting in 2020, as well as links that lead to videos that share information about the targeted individual program, information about the tactics used on targets, information about the technology used on targets, and just information about the torture, y'all. Information about the program in general. It's a torture, satanic program. And once you get thrown in it, you are going to be tortured relentlessly until you somehow figure out how to get out. God help you, and pray you can get out. And some targets have done it. I've done my research. I've seen some targets have gotten out, and then you have some that are in it for years and years, and they didn't even commit a crime, y'all. They're doing this on American soil. And not just American soil, they're doing this all over the world. This is a United Nations program. So it's something that all of the governments around the world are using. So it just has to be somebody with enough pull that decides to throw you into the program, and then the torture ensues. From there, y'all, it's a bunch of unfair treatment. I'm sure you know if you're targeted. I don't have to sit here and tell you. And if you've been keeping up with my videos, I'm sure you know what I've been through, right? For the last at this point, almost 6 years, not yet. This is year 6. So my targeting started summer of 2020. And this is now February of 2026. So year 6 is what I'm in right now. Been trying to get out of this thing, y'all. I have been trying and I have been trying and I have been trying. I feel stuck like glue. I keep saying it. Like I feel stuck like glue, y'all. It's just like the most tormenting thing to be in this reality, especially if you try to just listen to my story, y'all, and understand the level of frustration. If you hear my story, y'all. Anyway, y'all, this is just more documentation of targeted abuse. I was actually, despite the targeting, I'm a good person. I have a genuine heart, right? So no matter what's done to me or what's been done, I still have a genuine heart. I'm a good person at heart, right? So my parents' birthday just passed by. Right? They're both born in February. Nobody did anything for my birthday, by the way. My birthday just passed in December. Nobody did anything for my birthday. I had a couple people tell me happy birthday. That was about it. Nobody did a thing. And I didn't complain because we don't really celebrate birthdays and stuff like that in this house anymore. Now that we're older, we kind of used to do that when we were younger. Nowadays, we kind of do. It's like this thing where we'll go like take each other out to dinner or that type of thing. Before my targeting, man, the family's just weird now. It's not what it used to be. It's a shell of what it used to be. But we would at least go to dinners. That's something that we do. Like we'll take each other out to eat or something like that when life was normal. Or at least somebody will cook a dinner for someone. Since my targeting, it's just been weird. Like every now and then you might get a dinner. That's about it. Nobody's buying gifts for anybody at this point anymore. It's just not happening. Maybe to the side somebody might do something for someone, but it's just weird, the reality of this family now, right? But anyways, I know how my mom is. She's into that type of stuff. She likes gifts. You know, she's emotional. She likes the happy birthday. If she doesn't feel acknowledged, she'll feel bad that you didn't acknowledge her or do something for her birthday. That's the type of personality my mom has. So I noticed my dad's birthday passed, and I noticed my mom cooked a nice dinner for him. He really doesn't celebrate birthdays and holidays like that. His belief system, he doesn't really celebrate holidays like that. So I'm not feeling like I had to do anything for my dad, really. He always tells us he doesn't celebrate it like that. And I saw that my mom cooked him a nice dinner. So everything was good. Everybody was happy. We were all good. My mom's birthday now comes. Remember, her birthday is in the same month. It's like a few days after my dad, like maybe a week or two after. So her birthday comes now. And I noticed nobody did anything for her birthday. Nobody cooked her dinner. I didn't want to get up and cook. I'm targeted and weird things are always happening. There's always thoughts that I have some agenda or something. So I don't do stuff for people. And then they say I'm selfish. It's like damned if you do, damned if you do. You don't. You do nice things, they treat you bad. You don't do anything, you wash your hands and you remove yourself. You're cold, you're selfish. It's weird. And I feel stuck in the thing. Anyway, so it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't when you're targeted. I isolate and I stay to myself after what I've been through. And within the things that's going on, I stay to myself. I don't let them gaslight me, and call me cold and this and that, because I know what I've been through and all this weird stuff. And, like I'm doing something. So I just stay to myself. I don't do stuff. I'm telling you. Me of old, I used to buy my mom dinner. I'd take her out to dinner. We used to go to dinner for her birthday. I'd buy her a flower. That's about it. A card. That's about it. That's what we all do for each other. That type of thing. I don't do that stuff anymore. But I noticed my mom's birthday passed. My dad didn't cook dinner. Nobody cooked anything. And then I noticed that on her birthday, right? She sends this text, this big group text into the chat, the family chat. This was yesterday, y'all. Her birthday was on the 19th. So this was yesterday on her birthday that she sent this. Look at the date, y'all. It's February 20th. In the group chat, she sends this. Heavenly group chat about Mariska. God. Look at her heart, how deeply she cares for others, especially those she teaches and leads. Angel 1, she carries a lot, sometimes more than she lets people see. Angel 2, but she keeps showing up for her students, for justice, for what she believes is right. God. Yeah, so this is some sort of conversation that she was having with Chat GPT. Like she went into Chat GPT, and this is what the prompts were given back to her in Chat GPT. So it's like this conversation that it created with an angel and God. So then it said, God, yes, even when she's tired, she keeps trying to build something meaningful. Angel 3, she questions, she wrestles, she feels deeply, but she doesn't give up. God, that's good. Now they're trying to interject with their stupid. I don't even want to hear them in the background with their noise. They've been treating me horrible with the technology and with the program. As soon as whatever happened just now when I bought the gifts and I felt like I got some sort of treatment, they're making the noises when I'm throwing trash away. Like they don't care for me at all. They don't have nothing good for me. Anyway. So, and as soon as I pulled into that crazy neighbor that's obsessed with me, slamming stuff down, like before I could even get out the car, I just said, let me not, that's a demon. I already realized he's a demon. So I said, let me not pay him any attention. I said, let me ignore it. I have good intentions. Let me come in here and just give them the gift I'm giving them and come in my room. Because really all I was trying to do today was shop. I got paid today. I'm making a decent amount of money now. I don't, I'm not, I just was trying to do something nice for them. So anyway, God, that's growth. That's faith in motion. Angel 4, she worries sometimes if she's doing enough. God, tell her she is seen. Every effort counts, even the ones no one applauds. Angel 1, and what about the moment she feels alone? God, remind her she never walks alone. Heavenly, so she just put this whole thing, talking about how she feels like she's not doing enough and stuff. So my older sister responded, wow, this is accurate. Where did this come from? She said, Chat GPT, scary, huh? But true. So I said, how did you get that? And she said, ask this question into Chat GPT. If God had a group chat in heaven with his angels about me, what would be said? And so this is what Chat GPT said when she asked that question into Chat GPT. So I took that as her saying that she feels like she's not doing enough for people. And I know, recently there was this thing where, I'm trying to get a car. My car went bad. It's all due to targeting. I took it to the mechanic multiple times. It was heating. The car wasn't really getting looked at like that. Then come to find out it was just a water hose that was broken. The engine is now bad. So I don't have a vehicle. Thank God I'm making more money now. So I talked to the guy that I purchased 2 cars from before I tried to relocate off island. I bought 2 cars from him and paid for them in full by myself. And so he said he'll work with me. And if I can save up about $3,500, he'll work with me. But before I spoke to him, my mother told me that she spoke to the mechanic and he's telling her the engine is ruptured and it's shattered. Stuff he didn't tell me. That's not what he told me. He told me he could fix it. And I'm not even trying to go into the details with the mechanic because this is just like a new treatment I'm getting from him because I'm targeted. This is all targeted stuff, right? The whole reason the thing is messed up, the engine is fucked up in the first place is because targeting. Because typically back before I left island, he used to look at my stuff thoroughly, my cars thoroughly. He was good to me before I left island. So anyways, nonetheless, my mom tells me she spoke to him and he's telling her the engine is shattered and there's no guarantee that the car can. And I said, what? He didn't tell me that. I said, and I ordered all these parts and stuff. So I was flipping out about it. So anyway, she said, well, anyway, I have good news. We can go to so-and-so Motors. And she was naming a car place down here where the guy actually owns the place himself. So it's not like he's through Ford or Toyota or one of those big corporations or, dealerships. It's his own company. And so she's saying he has the choice of whether or not he gives you the car or not. From the time we pull up, I see the man wearing a plaid shirt. I knew it was a no-go because you don't have to understand. A lot of these businesses are not going to want to mess with me because of the offensive stuff I shared in my car in Florida. It was reactive abuse. It's all unfair. But nonetheless, all they're thinking about is money. And they're a business. And so obviously this is a diverse island. So I think some of them would be afraid to look like they're doing me a favor because of business is what I think it could be. I don't know really. I think that's what it is. So anyway, he's wearing a plaid shirt. So I'm already in my head like, oh boy. But I didn't say anything. So we walk up. And my mom is telling him, she has bad credit, but I'm willing to co-sign for her. I can co-sign for her. This is the idea she gave me, y'all. I'm sorry for sounding like I'm rambling. I'm just worked up about what just took place. I'm tired, y'all. I've been dealing with this for 5 years and change. It's getting progressively worse. I'm stuck in a neighborhood next to a psychopath who's obsessed with me. I can't get away from him. It just makes my skin crawl. Like, I'm just stuck. I'm stuck. I feel horrible. I can't get away from it. I'm like in a living nightmare. So anyway, I keep saying it every day. This is what targets deal with. It's not like a thing where, okay, everything went to shit here. It sucks. I wasn't really intentional. Whatever. Things happen in life. Okay, let me back up and leave and save up myself stuff and go somewhere else. I have stuff going for myself. I can survive somewhere else. That's not how this works. They spitefully throw you in this thing, and it's meant to ruin your whole life. Like, it attaches to you, and you can't go anywhere. It attaches and it follows you. So it's going to be the same shit everywhere else you go. So anyways, y'all, so it's better to be in an area where you at least are familiar, like your home, right? Even if you're dealing with unfair, horrible ass treatment, you're miserable. So anyway, so let me finish, y'all. So she's like, we can go to she gives me the idea of going to this dealership, and she's saying she'll co-sign for me because I'm explaining to her that my credit is terrible. I talked about this in the last video I posted, y'all. I talked about the whole thing about my credit and what happened with my credit and how I had a 700 and change credit score before I left Island. And then my credit score was so good that when I tried to relocate in the States, I was able to get a car with Carvana for a very cheap rate, a brand new car. It was a Sentra, it was the year of whenever I was up there, 2022. It was a 2022 Sentra. That's how good my credit was. Excuse me, y'all. And the payments were very low. I had to pay like $200 a month because my credit was so good. So anyway, due to the targeting following me and blowing up and me getting stalked from state to state and whatever else happened before I ended up coming back to Island, I lost the vehicle. I wasn't able to get the job I thought I was going to get. I wasn't able to even stay up there because of what was happening. I almost lost my life, actually. So I lost the vehicle. They never put it on my credit score, right? Years later, 2025, right? The beginning of last year when I was working the correction officer job, I was making enough money to get a car. And so I started looking at new cars and trying to raise my credit score because my credit score had dropped. Not because of the car. They hadn't put the car on my credit score, surprisingly enough, y'all, because they knew it was some bullshit. They knew I was targeted. But they didn't put the car on my credit score. But because I had taken out a couple credit cards when I was in the States, basically on the run, even though I didn't commit a crime, and I had an insurance that I stopped paying on for the car that got repossessed. Those things were on my credit score. And so the credit score dropped to I think it was like either a 600 or a 590, something like that. Right. So anyways, so that's why the credit score was bad. It was no longer a 700 and change. So I said, okay, I'm making money. I can easily, fix this. So I started paying off the stuff that was on the credit score. I think I only have one more thing left on the credit score right now, aside from student loans that are kind of in default at the moment. So right as my credit score almost got back to 700, you know what they did with the targeting? They purposely slapped the car that I lost from Carvana in 2022 onto my credit score, and it took a hit. I lost 200 points in one day. So now my credit score is in the 400s. This is all targeting, y'all. And I'm not flipping out and ripping people's heads off, So anyway, now my credit score is a 400 change. And that was what led to my dad buying me the car. Actually, he was trying to buy it before the credit score fiasco. What was going on was really I started looking at new cars. And that was when my dad came to me and said, hey, instead of buying a new car, why don't you just let me buy you a car off Facebook? So in my head, I was like, I'm grateful. Thank you. I told him thank you, but I said, I don't really want you to pay for it when I can pay for it myself. I said, at this point now I have the money. I said, I'm just trying to get a newer car. All the time when I was walking and I didn't have money and I wasn't working the correction officer job and taxis weren't stopping for me and horrible stuff, that's when I could have really used the car. But it's like, now I have the money. I'm about to buy a new car. Then now you say you're going to buy me the car. So it's not like I wasn't grateful. It's just like, at this point now I can do it myself. I'm an independent person. I don't like to take stuff from people unless I absolutely have to. I'm like, at this point now I don't really need it, but thank you. I was like, thank you. I'm so grateful. I think maybe he came into money coincidentally around then or something. I don't know. But it was just like the timing was like, dang, now when I actually have the money to do it myself. So anyway, I wasn't going to take the car from my dad. I even told him no thank you. That's to tell you the type of person I am. Anyway, so then they did the thing with the credit score. And then shortly after that, maybe like a week or two after, I lost my job at the correction officer place. So I needed the car. So at that point, I let my dad buy me the car and I told him I'll pay him back. It was a $4,500 Jeep, and now fast forward to now, y'all, where the engine has gone bad because a water hose apparently was broken, and that's why it kept overheating, and I don't know about cars, so I kept taking it to the mechanic, and I wasn't told that was the issue. Anyway, the engine apparently is shattered, and this and that, the third, whatever is going on. So now I'm without a car. Thank God, at least I'm getting more security hours. At least that's happening. Right? So I'm trying to get another car and I can do it quickly. I'm making about 900 and change, sometimes 1,000 every 2 weeks. I'm saving up and I'm trying to get a car. I also have income tax I need to file. So I'm not concerned. Right? So in my head, I was just pissed off about the fact that it's like a whole good Jeep gone bad and it didn't have to. And then now it done gone bad. I still wasn't being disrespectful or rude about it. It's just then now you're telling my mom something different than what you told me about the engine. He was making it like he was going to fix it. He didn't say it was, it's no guarantee and this and that. I even ordered, $700 worth of parts. Then he randomly tells my mom that, and I think it's because I talked about him in my last video. And I wasn't talking as harsh as I am now. In the last video, I was being very careful about how I was wording things, but I was talking about targeting and why I think the engine went bad. And I was talking about my experience, and this is what happens. I talk about what's happening in the targeting and the unfair treatment. And then they make it like I'm wrong for making videos. But the unfair treatment continues. Targeted individual program. Don't get caught up in this thing, I'm telling you. And it's like you don't really have a choice because you could follow the law. It's not about breaking the law. If you piss off the wrong person and they decide to throw you in this, you're fucked. And then you have nasty reactions to what's happening to you and more people pile on and more people. I've seen so many targets say racial shit. I'm not the only one. How many I've came across, white ones too, because they get so fucking angry. They start just saying horrible stuff. Anyway, nonetheless, y'all, it is what it is. I've already apologized. I can't take it back. It is what it is, right? We're here now 4 years later. They're using the guys whose content I was sharing, by the way. The guys whose offensive content I was sharing, they're using them as gang stalkers. They're in the streets in purple waving. Not that I have a problem with them. I'm not trying to throw them under the bus. I'm just trying to show y'all that's not what this is about. This is some sort of personal agenda that multiple people had against me. That's what's going on right now. You hear the ambulance going off? Anyway, y'all. So let me continue with what's going on, y'all. Because I am up to here with it, especially when I'm dealing with so much and I try to do something nice out of the goodness of my heart. And then it's like you treat me like a dog. Like that really irked me. And then I'm dealing with this damn demon next door who I can't get the fuck away from. That irked me so bad. Anyway, y'all. So back to what I was saying about going to this car dealership. So we pull up and I see the plaid shirt. I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, maybe he's just wearing the plaid. Because I've gone to a lot of businesses down here where they do work with me. It just depends on the person. Oftentimes it's so weird. I have to say this though. It's not always the case, but oftentimes it's been other races that have helped me more than black people. Believe it or not. There was even a time where I had a flat tire out at a gas station, right? Out near town. And it was that time where all the tire shops are closing. And so I went to a tire shop where there were some black people working there. I think they own it. And the guy had the army pants on. And he told me, no. He gave me this look like, no, he can't help me. So then I went to the tire shop where the Arabs were, right next door. And they helped me. They actually helped me. The guy gave me a tire. He said, you're lucky you got the last one. And that's not been the first time. And it's not just been Arabs. I've had other races help me more than black people. Not always and not every time. There have been black people that have been kind to me in the targeting. I've gotten mixed treatment from different races, all different ethnicities. But I've noticed more times than not, I'm actually getting more harsh treatment from black people. Believe it or not, I kid you not. That's been the experience. Anyway, so nonetheless, so we pull up to this car dealership, right? And he had the plaid shirt on. So I'm like, well, maybe he's just wearing it because, you know, they do this. I've been noticing that. They're working with me more off and on these couple of years, but it's still like horrible treatment. It's not like a complete, like every door is closed like it was when I first got back on island. But it's still this thing where it's like horrible treatment and you never know if you're going to get through with something or not. Like that's literally what it's been, right? So anyway, I see the plaid shirt. I'm like, oh boy. But I'm still like, okay, well, he's, you know, my mom knows what she's talking about. I'm sure she's probably talked to him before we got here. They all communicate with the targeting. They're all in communication. I don't think she's going to go out of her way to tell me about this if it's not going to work out. This is what I'm thinking in my head. But it's like it kind of just reminded me of the teaching thing too, because then my mom came to me last year and told me she spoke to the lady in the Department of Education and how she told her I was back on island. Now, of course, the lady already knows I'm back on island. Everybody is seeing me on camera. Everyone on island has access to these cameras. But she said she spoke to the lady in the Department of Education and how she told her I'm back on island and how the lady told her to tell me to fill out an application because they need English teachers. So I'm thinking to myself, well, they're all in communication. They're watching me on camera. This has to be a goal for sure. Why would they go out of the way to tell me about this, to not give me the job? You know, so I'm like, for sure, like, oh my God, I'm going to teach again. Wow, I can't believe it. So I start doing all this stuff, y'all. Fill out application, this, that, the third. My teaching certificate hadn't expired yet. Now it's expired. It expired October of last year. It was not expired yet. And that's a simple fix anyway, the expiration. But nonetheless, it was not expired yet. So I'm thinking I'm going to get the job. Then I go to this court case. I had this court hearing. The whole island's watching, mind you. Like a freaking circus act. But then they'll gaslight me about reactions I'm having and use that as a way to punish. Like, that couldn't have been the reason. I just don't think that was the reason for real. So anyway, I'm sitting there in the court case. I talked about this in one of the videos from last year, y'all. I don't even want to rehash the thing. I'm just trying to tell you about, you know, there has been another time where my mom came to me with something out of the blue. I didn't come to her. She randomly came to me with something. And then it was not what it seemed like. You know, so it's just kind of like, it feels horrible when you're at this level I'm at, where I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with. It's not like me prior to the targeting, where I had multiple opportunities and I wasn't being freaking targeted. Where, okay, you came to one opportunity, it didn't work out. Oh, well, I have a bunch of other options. Like, I am targeted. I'm at the lowest of the low. I don't have options like that. And it's like, you came to me with this option and made me feel like it was something that was actually going to happen. And then it was like, it just feels mean. And it's almost kind of what they do with the correction officer job. They keep blackmailing me about it. They were doing it just yesterday. They keep blackmailing me like about it. Like I'm getting tortured ruthlessly. And if I dare have a reaction, they start hinting like I'm not getting the job back. It's just like real torture. So anyways, y'all, back to, because I don't mean to be all over the place. Back to what I was talking about with the car dealership and my mom, though. I'm just remembering, you know, that other thing that she brought to me out of the random, you know, out of the blue. And I'm like, okay, for sure this is going to work. They're all in communication. They know I'm here on island. So obviously this is something they told her was okay. So I'm like, she's not going to come to me with the opportunity and tell me to fill out an application if it's not a go. So anyways, y'all, it was not a go. And so now she takes me to the car dealership. And we walk up and like I said, he had a plaid shirt on. And so she starts saying, I just want you to check her credit score and see so we can see if I can co-sign for her. And I said, well, we don't have to check my credit score. I know what my credit score is. I said, I have Credit Karma right here. I said, I could tell you right now, it's a 400 and change. And so he immediately starts shaking his head no. Now, I already know he knew we were coming. I already had this conversation with my mom about what my credit score was. And we were talking about what she was going to do for me. So he already knew we were coming. That's why he was wearing the plaid shirt. So he starts shaking his head, no, they're not going to take that. They're not going to take a credit score like that. You know, that's just, a cosigner is just if you have no credit. If you have bad credit, then that shows that you have a bad, you know, that doesn't mean anything. You know, the cosigner is just for if you have no credit to, you know, help. That just means they're going to pay if you don't pay. But from what I've seen in the past, before I was a target, I didn't have bad credit, but I've had friends that had bad credit. I've had family members that's had bad credits. And they've used co-signers to sign for them. And they get through with the bad credit. So it's not just if you don't have credit thing. It's if you have bad credit, you can use a co-signer as well. That's a commonly known thing. So when he said that, I just knew it was like an excuse. I was like, okay, he ain't trying to work with me. So I'm just like, okay, let's leave, mommy. I'm so used to it by now. I've been through it for years. I'm not begging anybody for anything. I'm not a disrespectful person, but I've been in this long enough to know, okay, this avenue ain't working. Next one, keep trying, don't give up. So anyway, he's like, well, you could still look at the cars. I said, no, no, man. I said, no, that doesn't make sense. Look at the cars for what? And so my mom said, well, come on, let's just go look. I said, look for what? He just told you can't co-sign for me. So what are we looking at cars for? She said, come on, just let's go. So I said, okay. And I went with her to look. I figured like maybe she has some sort of plan in her head or something. I'm like, okay, I just felt like I don't want to hurt myself like that. Look at these cars and I can't get it for what? So anyway, we go and we're looking at the cars and we start looking at, different cars, and one was 24,000, one was 26,000. There was a Chevrolet that was 24,000, and then there was a Toyota that was 26,000, 2,000 more. And I know Toyotas to be a better model. They last longer. I've heard Chevrolet gives problems. Excuse me, y'all, I need to blow my nose. I'm sorry. So I said, well, mommy, if we're going to make this type of investment where I'm paying for a whole car like this, I want to make sure it's something that lasts. I said, I heard Chevrolet isn't good. And she said, me too. And she said, well, that's just 2,000 more. And she said, you know what? I can take it out in my name, but I'm so afraid to do that because, whatever. I said, don't be afraid. I said, I'm going to pay it off. I said, before I tried to relocate off island, I had 2 cars that I paid off in full by myself. You remember? And she's like, okay. She said, she said, well, I can put it in my name. She said, I can put it. She gave me the idea. I didn't ask her to do it. And I didn't want to go up there and look at cars either. She said, come on. I wouldn't have been upset out there on the chair when she did eventually, like about a week, it wasn't 2 weeks. It was a week later when I guess the guy called her and told her that she could take out the loan and I pay for it. When she sat me on the couch and told me, well, you know what? I want to take out a loan for a house because this is what eventually happened, right? So she told me she'll take the loan out for me and I pay for it. And she said, but you're going to have to sign a contract and stuff. I said, sure, no problem. I said, take me to court if I don't pay for it. I said, I'm reliable. So anyway, we're leaving now. The guy said that that could work if she puts it in her name. So he said he'll look up, her credit just to make sure, because she already has a car loan with them that she's paying on. He said he's going to look up her credit just to make sure that she can do the 2 loans, and he'll call her on Tuesday, which was a week later from when we were there, y'all. So I wasn't pressing her about it. I was just like, I don't want to seem like I'm pressuring her. When she comes to me about him contacting her, she comes to me. So she called me and told me, come sit outside. And she said, you know what? She said, I want to take out a house loan, and, I really don't want to take out a car loan, and then that jeopardized me being able to get a house because I'm trying to move and I want to get a house because she's having issues down here. I don't want to tell her business here in the video, y'all. My mom started out in private school. She was one of the deans at the top private school here on island, actually. That's the private school I went to for majority of my life. I went there from nursery up to 7th grade. Then in 8th grade, I went to Catholic school. And then 9th through 12th grade, I went to public school. So anyway, my mom worked at that school for about, I don't remember the figure, y'all, a lot of years, like almost 30 years. I think it was like 27 years or something like that. She was there for almost 30 years teaching. She was a chemistry teacher in that school. And then she got promoted to Dean of Student Affairs. And so she was working there for buku years. And then they kind of did her dirty. Not to come for the school. I'm being watched on camera. It's a whole new set of administration in there from what I understand. Anyways. But the headmaster that was working at the time when she got laid off, quote unquote laid off, she was having issues with. I don't really want to talk about it. He was having issues with quite a few teachers in there from what I understand, actually. He was bumping heads with a lot of the teachers in there. But my mom wasn't a teacher. She was in the office. She was an administrator and an administrator with polls. She had been there for years and years and years. So they were bumping heads. I don't know the inside story, so I don't want to, say too much. I don't know the man personally. That's not somebody that was working at the school when I went to the school. So I don't want to say stuff, and I don't even know the person personally. One thing I'm not going to do, I don't care family or not. I'm not trying to put my mouth in it. But from what I understand, there was some sort of bumping heads going on there with him. And she never had issues with any of the other headmasters for the school, but she was having issues with this one. So anyways, basically what happened was when the hurricane came, Irma, I think it was, hit the island, the island took a hit. The economy took a hit. So they had to lay teachers off and they had to lay administrators off. But the position my mom had wasn't a position that you could lay off. She was Dean of Student Affairs. So what he did to fire her, which is why she said it was really low. A lot of people said it was low what he did. He created this new position. And there was this new lady that was working in there as well. He created this new position. He acted like he was promoting my mom to that position. And then he put the new lady that was working in the school that had only been working there for, I think, 2 or 3 years, put her in my mom's old position, Dean of Student Guidance and Student Affairs, put my mom in the new position, and then acted like they had to lay that position off, like that wasn't a necessary position. And so she was one of the people they could lay off. So it's this kind of like thing he did. Hold on, y'all. I need to blow my nose. Hold on. Anyway, y'all, I'm back. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent anyway, and I'm a lot more calm now. But long story short, because I'm delving into things that I don't necessarily need to delve into, but I'm just trying to explain to you why my mom's considering relocating off island and why she wants to take out a loan to buy a house in Florida. I believe she's trying to go up there by my sister, my older sister, and her husband and their children. But anyway, so long story short, just to wrap up what I was already talking about in the last clip. So at that school that my mom had been at for decades, that was how the guy, basically you could say like found a loophole to get rid of her. Basically, he created this new position, acted like he was giving her a promotion and like she was getting more pay than what she had already been making. And my mom was making a decent salary. I think she was making like 60 to 70K because she had been there for a while and she was, an administrator at that point. Anyway, so then he laid her off, and I remember her being devastated about it and like she couldn't believe it. And for a while she was trying to fight it. And then, it was a loophole because like I said, at the time, the school was downsizing anyway. The economy had taken a hit from the hurricane. So he did it in a smart way. Even now, that school that I'm talking about, they're no longer the school that they were before. They merged with the other private school here on island that was like their counterpart. The two schools are merged together now because they literally really had to downsize due to the economy taking a hit from the hurricane. So he picked the perfect time to kind of, figure out like a loophole to fire my mom, basically. And so that's what he did, and so that's why it was something she couldn't really fight because she couldn't even really prove that, this was something done. Like he literally acted like he was promoting me to this new position just so I could be one of the teachers that he would lay off due to the downsizing because they were genuinely laying off people that had been there for years for real. They had no choice because of what happened. But my mom's position, the position she had, they wouldn't have been able to do that. So he acted like he was giving her a promotion and then it was to a position that wasn't necessarily needed. So it was horrible what was done. This was years ago at this point now, y'all. It's to the point where my mom was now working for a different school for a number of years, and then something happened there too. And I was like, it's just like, it feels like something's on this family, man. I keep saying it. I've been saying it. It feels like something. And then that's one of the things that they say is like I'm crazy because I'm, talking this type of stuff. I'm from the islands. And I grew up with a grandmother from Trinidad who used to tell us stories about people who had witchcraft on them and stuff. So I try not to talk about that stuff anymore. I really do. I try not to talk about that stuff, but spiritual warfare is real, y'all. Whether it's witchcraft or something else going on, spiritual warfare is real, y'all. And it's like all of us going through it in this family. I would say I'm going through it the most, though, with this weird targeting shit that I can't get out of. But all of us are going through it. Like, these weird, inexplainable circumstances. It's just strange. I don't know if it's some sort of generational curse. God forbid. I don't want to speak any curses on my family or myself, but I don't know what it is. There's something weird going on, y'all. Anyway, so after that thing happened with her in that school, obviously she tried to fight it. She couldn't really fight it because of the way that it was done. My sister was advising her to get an attorney. I think if my mom had really buckled down and gotten an attorney, I think it was something that could have been fought, but it was difficult and it would have been hoops, and my mom just decided not to pursue. So she ended up instead working for the public school system. It's so weird when I said my mom decided not to pursue. One of the gang stalkers in the background is beeping the horn. These people are batshit crazy, some of them. Anyway, nonetheless, she ended up working for the public school system instead. And so she applied. And obviously with her experience, she got a job and she ended up at one of the good schools, one of the good high schools here on island, one of the good public high schools here on island. And she was working there for a number of years too, nowhere near as long as that first school that I was just talking about. I think she was there for like I don't want to say the wrong number, y'all, but like I think about give or take a year, right? About 7 years. She was at this new school, and at first it seemed like it was a good environment, for her, Because I taught at that same school and I didn't have a problem, but I wasn't there long enough to really say anything. I was only there for 2 years. And majority of the time I taught virtually. So I was only in person for a short stint. So I can't really put my mouth in anything really about the environment. I can't really speak on it. But from the experience I had, they were friendly and welcoming. But at the same time, again, I'm at a low level. I'm a peon. I was a new teacher. I was an English teacher. My mom is more so an experienced, seasoned teacher. And even though she was no longer an administrator, I think she went in with this alpha female administrative persona. And I think that's maybe what caused the friction. This is what my older sister and I have concluded. I think that's what it was. I think she kind of had this error about her where she's moving in this way like she's an administrator and she's not. And this is not your turf. This is a whole new environment now. And I think that's what created the friction. And I don't know all of the particulars. There's more. There's much more to the story than that. But I'm out of the loop. I'm a target. So there's much more to the story. Anyway, so she was there for like about 7 years, and the first few years were good. I remember her saying she liked it and she loved the school and she's doing this and that. And she started this group called Ladies of Distinction. And, she was starting all these different organizations and Sunshine Committee. And these are things that I was a part of too when I was teaching at the school. So she was doing positive things at the school. But like I said, eventually I think bumping heads started happening due to just like alpha female, alpha male personas and maybe different perceptions or views on things, and whatever happened. It's again another one of those situations I can't speak too much on. I'm just trying to explain to you why she's trying to relocate off island, because I went off on a tangent. So at this next school now, eventually years later, this was after I started teaching at the school and all, like I'm telling you, 2020, I want to say maybe around those years, not even, because those years things were still cool. When I left the school, she wasn't, to my knowledge, having issues with the administrators. I think that started maybe like a year or two ago. I don't know how long it's been happening. I'm out of the loop. They don't tell me stuff. But from my understanding of maybe like a year or two ago, stuff started getting weird. I don't know what, like she's saying like some of the teachers and her were having friction with the administrators, and I don't know the full story on. I don't want to say too much. I really don't. So nonetheless, it got so bad though that eventually it went to a higher level, and my mom ended up joining the, oh my God, AFT, American Federation Teacher Association, and she became one of the, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I think she became a chair in that committee. So even though she wasn't an administrator, she was a part of AFT, and AFT is basically like the teachers union. That's where teachers go and complain about things that are happening that are unfair in the school. So she now did kind of have not necessarily an administrative seat, but something equivalent to. And so when she took that position, she started linking up with other teachers, I guess, that were having issues, and she started putting her foot down and saying certain things, and it created this thing where it seemed like some people got together, including someone that's higher up than the administration in the school where she was having the issue, someone that actually works for the Department of Education that's higher up. She bumped heads with that person. And so it created this thing where they removed her from the school that she was teaching at. I don't know why I'm hearing chirping in the background. It seems like the program's familiar with what's going on and they're down with it seems, because they're chirping. Like, they're never this bold. They are never this bold when it comes to making, with me, it's all day a field day of trying to make me feel bad and making noises about things that's happening to me. But they never do that for family members or outside people, so they must know what's going on and have some sort of feelings towards it too. They're very subjective anyway. I've already seen what they do with me, so I don't even really know. But I'm hearing them chirping when I said that they removed my mom, so it seems like they have some sort of feeling about it. And that's not the first time during the conversation that I heard the chirping either. So I don't really know what's going on. But nonetheless, it was kind of similar to what happened when she was at the private school, where it was kind of this thing where it was like, it would seem like it was like an underhanded thing because it's where they put her. It seemed like it was a punishment. Like she's saying it seems punitive because they ended up putting her in the school where the troubled teens go, the teens that are getting in trouble and not doing their schoolwork, and, like kids that are really getting in trouble are considered. I don't want to say that because no child is bad, really. It could just be a situation where, they're having a bad life at home, or things are going on in the household, or they had a bad upbringing. You never know what the situation is, why children are misbehaving. So I don't want to put like a title on kids or children. Excuse me, not kids. Kids, that title is a baby goat. If we're being technical, a kid is a baby goat. Children, I don't want to label them as bad, but this is literally what the label is. That school is known to, to have a bad rep. Like, it's a rough school. And if you get put there, it's known that it's likely a punishment. So it's for her to go from being like a teacher that's teaching honor students and a part of all these committees, to you putting her in a school that's full of quote unquote bad children, that's known to have the school just in general have a bad rep, a rough school. It did seem punitive. And so that's what she was saying and what she was trying to fight. It seemed punitive. With the noises they're making in the background, y'all, I feel like some of the people with the birds know what's going on, and they're making noises or something. So that's new. I've never known them to do that before. They usually stay neutral when it's things that don't involve me. So that's surprising. But anyway, interesting. Nonetheless, y'all, so that's what's going on, basically. It's like she's in this really rough school, and the other day it was like the student apparently was flipping off. Apparently there's a student in there that people are trying to shoot that's in the school, and, so it's almost like a dangerous environment too, because some of these children, like I said, they've had rough upbringings or whatever it is that's going on in their household that led to them, getting into trouble and being put in that school. So they need help, obviously, but at the point they need help and it's a rough environment, it's just, it seemed, one of those things. So she's kind of over the situation, really. She's thinking about moving, and she was trying to purchase a house down here. Just last year, my dad and my mom were looking at houses down here that they were trying to purchase. But now that this thing with the department happened, it's just, I don't know. It seems like she's trying to relocate to Florida to be by my sisters. And she's always traveling up there anyways. She has grandchildren now. My sister is not playing. She's married and she has 5 children now. So, my mom wants to be by her grandkids too. That's partially part of what it is too. She enjoys being by the grandchildren. So she's thinking about purchasing a house up there instead. But the talk of her getting a house has been happening since last year. It doesn't matter the location, whether it was here or in Florida. She knew this was something she wanted to do. So it's just like, again, I'm not some selfish, ignorant bimbo, entitled bimbo. I'm 34. I can understand you telling me I don't want to take out a loan for you because I already have a car loan out and I'm trying to get a house. I get that. It's just, it's another situation where made me get my hopes up. I thought it was just something that was possible. I even said I don't want to look at cars. And you said, come on, let's go look. Got my hopes up. And then I'm just like, why are you doing that? It's like the second time. It happened last year with the teaching thing too. And so even still, I didn't make a video about it. I didn't get pissed off. I've been talking to her nicely. I haven't acted pissed or had an attitude with her at all. Even though in the moment I was upset, I got over it. She even called me this morning and said, hey, I guess she felt bad about the situation or whatever. She said she talked to my older sister who's in Florida, and she bought a car at the auction for $600 for cheap, and it's a good car, and why don't I look at cars up there? And I said, well, I really don't want to buy something up there and have it sent down, because every time I try to get those type of things overseas sent down here, it comes back, not it doesn't come the way it's supposed to. I made a video about this, y'all, when I was struggling and I couldn't get a vehicle and I was trying to purchase electrical scooters. They sent me 2 lemon scooters. They sent me 2 defective scooters. So I'm not trying to put money towards a whole car and ship it down. That's expensive to get a lemon car. No, I don't have time to waste like that. So when she gave me that idea this morning at work, I said, I spoke to, so-and-so from the dealership, the guy that I was telling y'all about, that I bought 2 cars from and paid off in full before I tried to relocate off island. And he told me, the amount that I need to save up, the down payment. And by the way, let me clear that up, y'all. I don't want to make it seem like this guy's doing me favors either, because I'm not trying to make things weird for him either, because I see people getting attacked when it looks like they're working with me or doing favors for me. Some people, it's that vicious with the targeting. Guys have talked to me like a year or 2 ago. It's happened multiple times. We'll just be having regular conversation with me and they start revving by and glaring at the person, much less for a business. I want you to understand this man is not doing me any favors. He's just a good businessman, and business is business. It doesn't matter who it is. And he knows that I'm reliable because I've already bought 2 cars from him and paid them off in full. before I tried to relocate off island, and I always paid on. That's one thing he used to always say about me. He said, wow, you always pay on time. You always make your payments on time. So he's not doing me any favors. Before I tried to relocate off island, the down payments that I made for the 2 cars I purchased from him was about that figure that he gave me, about $3,500. It's just when I first got back on island and I was trying to get a car, I called him and I remembered him telling me the down payment was now $5,000. So it's like, what? It's like more expensive than it was before I tried to relocate off island. But he was telling me that's just because of the models he has right now. Like, he didn't have any cars that he would be willing to let me pay such a low down payment. So it had to be $5,000. So in my head, I was just like, you probably just think I'm a bitch, whatever he heard about me or whatever. But I didn't want to like make that accusation either, because I know he does have cars that come and go, come and go, come and go. And some are more expensive than others. He even told me on the phone when I spoke to him when I first got back on island to check back in a few months and he might have something cheaper. He did say that. And I might be able to pay $4,000. He did say that. So now the $3,500, I think, is just because he actually has more models. I drove by the place. I see the parking lot is full of cars. So I think he just has those models where I can pay a $3,500 down payment. So he's not doing me a favor. Let me make that clear. Now, that whole spiel I went on about whatever, I'm just saying certain people I noticed, it's like they ain't trying to work with you at all. It's not even like just not do you a favor. It's like not even trying to do business with you at all. Some people. That was more so when I first got back on island, though. Recently, like I would say in the last 2 years, it's gotten a lot better. But you have a few people that you could tell, like, they, like, so that's what I meant. He's not doing me any favors, really. He's just willing to do business. He's a good businessman and money is money. And he knows I'm reliable and I'm going to pay him. So anyway, so it's not about a credit thing or what I said that was offensive. It's a history thing. Before I ever shared offensive stuff, before I tried to relocate off island, I bought 2 cars from him in the span of 2 years, and all of my payments were on time and I paid them off in full. So anyway, nonetheless, y'all, not meaning to go off on a tangent, I just had to clear that up. I definitely try not to, run my mouth and make it seem like anybody's working with me, because nobody is, really. Not at all. Nobody's doing me favors at all. Trust me. Anyway, So back to what I was saying about my mom, though, y'all. So that's what she did. A week after telling me that she would take the car out, take the loan out in her name, then she sat me down and told me, well, I'm trying to get a house, and, giving me these excuses. And so I remember in the moment feeling upset, not because of, let me let this thing rev by super hard, because you don't have to drive that hard on the street. You're gang stalking. Get lost with your rusty car. Anyway, So it wasn't what she said. It wasn't the fact that she didn't want to take the loan out in my name, because I'm understanding I'm a big 34-year-old female and I'm mad she even has to take anything out in her name for me. But I'm targeted, and I already explained to you all what's gone on over the last few years, right? So anyway, nonetheless, I understand you not doing it. It's just the fact that I didn't ask you to do it, and you, similar to the teaching thing, you randomly kept pushing me to look at cars and then said you were going to do that. So it's like I got my hopes up. I even started calculating, just for you to come a week later and say, whatever, I know you knew you wanted to get a house. It's not a new thought. So that's where I was upset in the moment. But after that, I was over it. I haven't been rude to her. I've been talking to her normal. We've been functioning normal. I haven't been giving her attitude or anything. Even on her birthday, I was the first to write her. I told her happy birthday. So anyway, so yesterday she sent that big long thing into the chat about feeling like she's not doing enough for people. And so immediately I thought about the car loan and whatever is going on. Even though I haven't been pressuring her about it, I haven't been giving her attitude about it. I realized also, too, nobody did anything for her birthday. And I know how she is and what's happened in the past with birthdays and stuff. So I was just like, well, you know what? I know her favorite chocolate is dark chocolate. I texted myself this since last night, y'all. So this wasn't a today thing. Since last night, I started putting together my grocery list because I knew I was getting paid today. And I texted myself. And I tried to write it in code, too. That's to tell you I was going to move on to humble and just try to slip her the chocolate. But then this morning I decided, you know what, let me just get her flowers too so it could be like a real gift. You could see I had texted, now it's more clear, right? Dark chocolate. Before, what I had was in parentheses. I had M&D, BD, so mommy and daddy birthday, and I didn't really put what I was getting. And then I cleared it up and I wrote dark chocolate. But you see I abbreviated it, right? With the pins. Because they're watching everything I'm doing. You could see this was yesterday, right? Because you can see today at 7:59 a.m. I sent this text. So this text was sent yesterday. So yesterday I had planned to do this. I wasn't planning to get the roses. That was just a last minute thought. And I said, you know what, let me run to the grocery store and see if I could get them some flowers too. It was really just my mom, I was just gonna get some chocolate for my mom just so she could feel seen and like appreciated and like she got something because I know how she is. So I went to get her dark chocolate because I know that's her favorite kind of chocolate. And then in my head I said, well, you know what, this looks bad. My dad's birthday just passed, even though he doesn't celebrate and he acts like he doesn't care. It's gonna look bad if I go out and buy chocolate for my mom, I don't get something for him. So I said, let me just get some chocolate for the both of them. And then in my head I thought, well, let me just get them some flowers too. That was a last minute spur of the moment. The flower thing was a last minute spur of the moment. I just said, the thought hit my head. I was not going to do that. I was literally just going to get dark chocolate and slip it to my mom so she could feel like appreciated, like somebody did something. So anyway, I get the thing now, right? And I come here to the house. First of all, before I even got here to the house, y'all, let me talk about the crazy gang stalking that was going on out there too. Because you have a bunch of people glaring at me angry for no fucking reason. Some have reason. Yeah, I've said offensive stuff up 4 years ago that I've apologized for, but there are a lot of people that don't know forgiveness. I've learned that the hard way. But they have an issue, so they're looking for anything. They're sitting staring at me 24/7. They have access to me, and any little thing I do, they purposely like to make me feel crazy and like I'm on eggshells. They're watching everything, and the moment they feel like something happens that they could hop on me for, they just want to hop on me. They're just angry. They hop on me. So I'm watching the law shows. I watch these things all the time, like 48-hour cold cases, this and that. I don't care the race. I don't change it because I see a white person on the screen. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to watch what I want to watch. So if the next episode has white people, oh well. So every morning at work, I'm watching cold cases. They see me doing this every morning. I sit there and watch the show and I'm good to go and I don't have an issue. This morning, all of a sudden, it's this big deal that I'm watching cold cases. Right? So I'm sitting there and I'm listening. I keep noticing the bird diving down, right? Every time they're saying certain things, the bird's diving down. They said something about a child. I see the bird dive down. So I'm just rolling my eyes, right? So then I'm out there like I'm heading to town and I pull my mask down to take a sip of my drink. I see the bird dive down again. So I look out the window like this and I just did a little smirk at the bird. And I put the mask up. After I did that, oh my God, it's like they started going crazy. They started going revving in the road for every little thing that's being said in the show. He was a psychopath and he had the symptoms of, he had the characteristics of it, even though they're doing psychotic shit. And what they're doing is psychotic and sadistic. They're revving by for all kinds of horrible stuff that they weren't revving by for before. I'm like, okay. And making all kind of noise campaign. Then I'm seeing gang stalking set up at every store I'm going to. They're doing a bunch of gang stalking shit. I'm like, okay. I'm like, what's different about this morning? Because I'm always watching cold cases at work like every fucking morning. So what's the difference this morning? So anyways, y'all, nonetheless, like getting past that bullshit now, right? They just wanted to have a problem, I think, as usual. So anyway, I now get to the house and I pull up. As soon as I open my fucking door, y'all, I kid you not, this fucking crazy man that I talk about in so many videos, it's like he gets a sick twitch or a thrill or some sort of sadistic. If you look up the definition of sadism, y'all, it will tell you that it's gratification in the humiliation or hurt of another person. And they said oftentimes it's sexual gratification because you have to have some sort of mental disorder to be a sadist. It's not normal to get pleasure. And this is why I said what they're doing is psychotic, but they're painting it like I'm the serial killer when they're the ones exhibiting serial killer-like tendencies, torturing somebody all day long and getting sick kicks from it. Anyway, so it's like, I don't know if he retired or what it is, because I used to get a break from him at least. He used to go to work. He's home all the fucking time now. His truck parked up in the yard. I'm like, oh my God, don't tell me this man retired. I'm like, I really got to get out this neighborhood ASAP. I can't deal with it. So as soon as I pull up, y'all, I guess he saw me buy the flowers and stuff, and as usual, fast ass, completely invested in what's going on with me more than my own parents. I opened the door, he making noise, slamming stuff, trying to act like he making noise. Every time I'm sending a text to my brother about the gas, he acting like he making noise. I'm like, okay, the thirsty thing trying to get attention. I said, let me not pay attention to it. I said, let me stay quiet and because I have good intentions. I'm having an offish kind of rough morning already. Let me just bring the stuff into my parents and get in my room because I need to rest. I have gym today. He doing all kind of noise. Look, he making noise now to get attention. He's still outside in the yard drooling and staring at me, weirdo. Right? So, and this is the type of stuff where they'll make it like I'm a bitch. But they see what this man to be doing. They hear it. They be co-signing it sometimes and making him feel like enabling the weird, creepy behavior. So anyway, as soon as he started doing whatever he's doing, of course, the gang stalkers, the external gangster, everyone's watching. It's a circus act, right? Like I said, the continued torture on island. The ambulance starts going off. As soon as they hear the shit he's doing, the ambulance starts going off. So I'm like, oh boy, let me just get the stuff and get it inside the house because I have good intentions. Let me not let Satan get the best of me. So I grab my stuff, I get in the house. As soon as I get in, I see my dad sweeping like he's sweeping the floor. So I'm like, I don't think he would be doing that, and I just got a gift. I know he could see on camera I got a gift. I'm like, I don't think he's doing that for me. I'm like, no way. But I noticed it's like this weird energy from him. Like, as I'm telling him about the gift and stuff, it's like this weird energy I'm getting from him about it. Almost like he had an attitude. I'm like, what? He's one of the main people that's always kind of like hinting that I'm cooking for myself and I'm selfish. And I'm like, I actually now went and tried to do something nice, and I got you and mommy a gift. I really was just going to get mommy some chocolate because I know how her personality is and I know the message she sent yesterday. But me being me, I'm like, I'm not going to get mommy a gift and not get daddy something too, and his birthday was just a week ago. No matter how much he say he don't care about birthday, I'm going to get him something too. He having some sort of attitude and like he don't want the... I'm like, what? I haven't felt a regret so quick in a minute, you know. I have a lot of regrets that's happened during the targeting. I instantly regretted getting the stuff, you know. Instant regret. So no, I go in there and I put the thing on the bed. And I'm just like, I was so over it at that point too. I just wanted to throw it away, but I still had mommy's thing too. Mommy comes home all of a sudden, you know, I guess she showed me her sugar was high. It was like super through the roof, like 300 and something. So she's in there trying to take medicine and stuff. She wasn't as bad. It wasn't like my dad was almost like an attitude where I'm like, damn, why did I do this? When my mom was more so, it just felt fake. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just being honest with you. I know my mom. I know them. These are my parents. I lived with them my whole life. They raised me. She tried to at least seem appreciative. But it just seemed, I don't mean to say this. I don't want to say this on camera and get in problems. It just seemed disingenuous, her reaction. And I just feel like things are just weird now. That's why I don't do stuff. And then they'll gaslight and call me cold and this and that and the third. But then when I try to do something, it's this weird treatment. It's either that the reaction feels disingenuous, which, okay, I'm not going to come for you because at least you tried to seem like you appreciated it. Or it's just a straight nasty reaction like my dad where I'm like, what? Why did I do this? And then on top of things, your goon is the nut that you won't talk to is on top of me making noises and breathing down my neck. Like, I'm just... Y'all, I'm so over it. I was just like, damn, I should have just got my groceries and came home, you know. I should have just got my groceries and came home. Fuck a nice gesture. It's how I feel. Anyway, y'all, I had to make a video about it because I couldn't believe it. And instantly, as I started getting the weird treatment, you could tell that it was a weird treatment because they even started doing noise campaigns outside. They started doing the ambulance. They started chirping the birds super loud. I'm, you know, taking off. I had bought some dishes to do meal prepping. I'm taking the shell off of the dish, you know, like the plastic and stuff. I'm throwing it away. They're chirping outside. I'm like, oh my God, they actually were thriving off of the nasty reaction. But then yet they claim they want me to change. It's not about that. It's about revenge. You don't like me. You have a problem with me and you want revenge. It's not about no change, nothing. That's why the punishment is going so long and it's overdue. You know full well this isn't overdue in punishment. You just don't like me. And you want to abuse me and mistreat me. At least they're keeping it real. Look, they're chirping and keeping it real. Yay, so stop sending me change then. Because it's not that. And you know it's not that. Stop sending me that then. Be real. So anyway, thank God we get into the real now. Jesus Christ. Anyway, y'all, so that's what I'm dealing with. You know, this is the situation that I'm... that's my life currently. Yay! So anyway, y'all, I had to make a video about it, though, because I just thought it was, like, ludicrous. I was like, what the fuck? You know, I'm just like, this is... I couldn't believe it. Perturbed don't even describe the emotion. I just, like, hopeless and lost, and... I'm like, are they ever going to let me up out of this thing so I can live a normal life? Because at this point, I don't even know if they have the willpower or the strength to do it. Because they so enjoy doing what they're doing to me. Are they ever going to do the right thing and really let me go and truly give the second chance and let me really live my life? Anyways, y'all, that's it. I just had to talk about it, y'all. Like, I had to vent, man. It's just like, I was just like, what the fuck? Excuse my language. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Peace out.